Hey, Sully, how are you?
What's happening, bud? Doing pretty good, considering the lack of sleep.
Yeah, I'm back in my usual time slot and feeling positive about the situation.
You got a couple Diet Cokes in you? You ready to roll?
Of course. Cape Atlantic League title day. You got to be up early and ready to go.
Yeah, man. So let's break down these games a little bit. We kind of knew these top two seeds and the boys and girls were each going to make it. They looked like the clear favorites. What are your thoughts heading into today's games?
Well, I think, let's take the girls' game first. Noon, Middle Township, Ocean City. As I wrote in today's paper and online, it kind of both teams are getting the rematch that they want. Last year, Middle beats Ocean City in overtime, 36-34 in the title game. The beginning of the season, Ocean City kind of puts one on Middle Township. Middle Township, of course, played that game without Bridget Rusky, their star player, who was out with a hand injury. So what you got is you got Ocean City looking for a little revenge from last year's title game, and the Middle Township girls looking for a little revenge from one of their two losses this year in the season opener.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to Coach Baruffi after they won their game earlier this week, and I said, hey, if you need some coaching advice, don't let Jenna Hurley score 19 on you like she did against Mainland. So,
well, I mean, and Jenna Hurley has really been a big reason for Middle's success. Especially when Bridget Rusky, who was our player of the year, was out for 2 to 3 weeks. Middle Township lost that game to Ocean City, and then they didn't lose again without Rusky in the lineup. And a big reason was Jenna Hurley and her scoring that she provided. And she kind of typifies the type of players that are on Middle and Ocean City. She's a tremendous athlete, tremendous field hockey player. And, this is a game, Ocean City Middle, that's just filled with good, tough, athletic kids who really get after it.
Yeah, she's a heck of an athlete and really not a tall girl. I think she's only like 5'2", 5'3", or whatever, but she was definitely not afraid going up against the height that Mainland brought. They have a couple of 6-footers, and she was, driving lanes, scoring layups, that kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how they defend her. Mainland kind of went with the tactic of putting a 6-footer on her, see if that could stop her from scoring, but they weren't really successful with that. So it'll be interesting to see what Baruffi has up his sleeve in terms of defending the Panthers.
Well, I think what you're going to see from both teams is defense. Both teams are defensive-oriented. The foundation of Ocean City's success is their defense. Same thing at Middle Township. Middle Township a little bit different than Ocean City this year. Is that Middle Township likes to press more. Maybe use that full court press to up-tempo the game a little bit, create some turnovers, convert those turnovers into easy baskets. But, last year the score of this game was 36-34, and I wouldn't expect it to be much more than that this year. I mean, this is going to be a game that is, Middle coach John Leahy told me last night, this is a game that could be decided on a loose ball, a rebound, a foul shot here, a key basket here or there. This game is going to be in the 30s probably, and it's going to come down to the final minutes, and it's going to be decided by, one or two key plays.
Yeah, and you saw that in the semis when Middle was taking on Mainland. Mainland was really within striking distance there with about a minute to go, and Middle gets a huge offensive rebound on a free throw and then scores another basket, and boom, now you're trailing by about 6 with a minute to go. So it's one little play like that can really make the difference.
And when points are at a premium, and which they will be today, a 6-point lead, that could be the equivalent of a 12-point lead or a 14-point lead. A 4-point lead could be the same as a 10-point lead. So, points will really be at a premium. So, every possession is going to matter today, when these two teams face off.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much they're willing to press Ocean City, because Ocean City has perhaps the best ball-handling guard in South Jersey, Grace Sacco. I mean, she's not going to be scared of any type of press, so it'll be interesting to see how they handle that.
Yeah, Grace Sacco is, I was joking with a couple of people. Grace Sacco is one of those kids that seems like she's been in high school for about 40 years.
Yeah.
She's finally a senior. She started all 4 years. It just seems like she's one of those kids that has been, at Ocean City forever. And like you said, she handles the ball extremely well from the point guard position. She really sees the floor well, And, her assists, as I was talking with Coach Barufi yesterday, her assists are not, are rarely, kicking the ball to somebody who makes a 20-footer. She averages about 6 assists a game, and 5 of those 6 are passes that get her teammates open layups, wide open layups. So, like you said, Ocean City is a tough team to press because of Grace Sacco and the way she sees the floor.
Yeah, the biggest number that stood out to me in their win over Holy Spirit the other night was turnovers. They only had 5 turnovers the entire game, and that's just their MO. They don't turn the ball over. They're not going to make sloppy plays. They're going to make you make every possession count.
Yeah, I think the key for Ocean City is quite simply how they shoot the ball. Like you said, they're not going to turn it over. Grace Sacco is going to make good decisions for the most part. Defensively, they're going to be stingy and give up few points. They struggle to shoot the ball. If they make 3 or 4 perimeter shots today, 3-pointers, I would venture to say Ocean City would probably win the game. If they don't, then I think it's going to be a very, very close game, come down to the final minutes. But for Ocean City, and I think this is true not only of their game against Middle Township, but I think this is true of anybody who they play. If they manage to shoot the ball well, if they get 3 or 4 outside shots to go down, they're going to be very tough to beat. The problem is, they have games where those 3 or 4 don't go down. Now, they still manage to grind their way through those games. They're 24-1, but life's a lot easier for Ocean City and most teams when they make a couple perimeter shots.
Talking with Mike McGarry of the Press of Atlantic City. Mike, how about the boys' game? This is the 3rd matchup between the Prep and Atlantic City. What can Atlantic City do to keep this thing close in the final 2 minutes or so? They sort of had their chances in the first meeting. The second meeting was pretty much a blowout from the start, but they had a shot there in the first meeting. What do they need to do to stay with the Prep? The Prep has had such a great season so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is one of those games where 2 weeks ago or even, 10 days ago before the Cape Atlantic League tournament started, you might have said, well, St. Augustine and Atlantic City played in the boys' final. Who wants to see that game? Last time they played, St. Augustine, jumped to a 12-0 lead. They were up 19-5 in that Battle by the Bay game, and the game was over. But I think anybody who saw Atlantic City beat Wildwood Catholic the other night knows that, this doesn't seem to be the same Atlantic City team that played on February 3rd against St. Augustine. Atlantic City came at Wildwood Catholic with the defense that they seem to always play this time of year. They held Wildwood Catholic 6 for 26 from the floor in the first half, 16 for 54 in the second half. So it's an Atlantic City team that seems to have that commitment back to defense. And if they play defense like that, they have an opportunity to sort of slow the St. Augustine attack, because Atlantic City is one of the few teams that can match St. Augustine athletically at every position. And that's the key to sort of to begin thinking about beating the Hermits is you have to match their athleticism.
I think the neutral court really helps Atlantic City. Sometimes when they play at home in those big home games, they get a little too amped up. Like Coach Allen said, when they lost that game against the Prep, he's like, we were just too fired up to go out there, and they kind of lose themselves a little bit. But I think the neutral court will definitely help them a little bit.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure they'll come out motivated. The last time they played, St. Augustine really took it to them, and Atlantic City is not used to losing games like that. So I think, Atlantic City will come out fired up. But like you said, it's got to be a fired up and it's sort of under control at the same time, because you don't want to make silly mistakes, basically, and create unforced errors that St. Augustine is able to convert into basket.
Mike, give us a time on the clock into the game when Gene Allen first loses the jacket, then loses the tie.
Well, I think you go with both coaches. I think Gene Allen might be about 5 or 6 minutes into the first quarter, and I bet you Coach Paul Rodeo of St. Augustine will have his tie off, around the 4-minute mark of the second quarter, or maybe earlier. So, like you said, 2 great coaches there. Gene Allen is really, 3 state titles at Atlantic City, more than 300 wins, and Coach Rodeo, defending state non-public A champion, 880 something wins, maybe 890 now. And, two guys that really are passionate about the basketball game and don't hide their passion at all. It's out there evident for everybody to see.
Oh, they're great to watch, man. They're such fun coaches to watch.
Right, absolutely. It should be a very, very interesting game to sort of take a look at.
All right, Mike, we'll see you out there later on today, man. Thanks. Appreciate it, buddy.
Okay, thanks.
That was Mike McGarry, Press of Atlantic City.